Island of the Central and Southern Pacific. Oceania is a collective name for the islands scattered throughout most of the Pacific Ocean. The term, in its wide sense, embraces the entire insular region between Asia and the America. A more common definition excludes the Ryukyu, Kuril and Aleutian Islands and the Japanese archipelago. The most popular uses delimit Oceania further by eliminating Indonesia, Taiwan and the Philippines. This is because the people and the culture of those islands are more closely related to the historical to the ASEAN mainland. Oceania then is in its most restricted meaning included more than 10,000 islands with a total land area excluding Australia but including Papua New Guinea and New Zealand of approximately 370,700 square miles. Oceania has traditionally been divided into four parts: Australasia, which includes Australia and New Zealand, Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. As recently as 33,000 years ago, no human being lived in the region except in Australia. Although disagree on details, scientists generally support a theory that calls for a Southern Asian origin of the island people. By 2000, about 12 million Icelanders lived in Oceania, and many indigenous cultures were revolutionized by intensive contact with non-Oceania groups who had interests from the various parts of the Western world.
According to United Nations official statistics, there are 14 fully recognized sovereign states or countries in Oceania today, mostly located here in Pacific Ocean. There are countries of Australia that touch the Indian and Pacific Ocean. Down here in southwestern Pacific, there we have New Zealand. At South Pacific Ocean, we have Fiji, the independent state of Samoa, and the Kingdom of Tonga, which consists over hundreds of islands. Up here is the Republic of Palau. Continue with Papua New Guinea, touch the Bismarck, Solomon Island, and Coral Sea. Meanwhile, the Solomon Islands is to the east of Papua New Guinea. Next, we have Republic of Vanuatu, and then move to the Western Pacific, where we have Federal States of Micronesia and Marshall Islands with Kiribati that stretch along the equator. With these last two here is the Republic of Nauru, the tiny island country, and lastly Tuvalu, that halfway between Australia and Hawaii.
One of the sub-regions of Oceania is Micronesia. The name is derived from the Greek words mikros, which means small, and nesoi, which means island. Micronesia lies between the Philippines and Hawaii in the western Pacific Ocean. It encompasses of several sovereign countries, which includes Palau, Marshall Island, Kiribati, Nauru, and the federal states of Micronesia, which includes Pohnpei, Koshai, Chuuk, and Yap. The climate in Micronesia is considered a tropical marine climate, with an average temperature ranging between 26 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. There are distinct rainy and dry seasons. The rainy seasons usually occur in July to November or December, and the dry season around December, January, or June. People suffered occasional nature disasters such as cyclones and droughts. Micronesia Islands are formed by volcanic activity and is very fertile. That is why they can traditionally depend on land cultivation. They also practice fishing and traveling using the ama, which is their traditional boat since their ancestors' time. The indigenous people of Micronesia has an interesting and diverse art and culture.
Okay, let us proceed to the characteristic of Micronesia architecture. First, let me talk to you about what influenced their design in architecture, which is typhoons. Micronesians have been living with typhoons almost about 100 years, so they have created their own building, their own house, their own shelter that can withstand typhoon itself. For instance, we can see in the past few years back, in 2015, which is Typhoon Mesak. During Typhoon Mesak, it have been destroying almost everything in other area, but in Micronesia, the traditional houses and also their modern houses are basically withstand those disasters because their structure is mainly focusing on withstand the typhoon itself. Micronesia's architecture have been shifted through time. Their characteristic different from the past prehistory to the nowadays period. First, we can see during prehistoric period in Nan-Madol, Pohnpei. During that period, the Micronesians used basalt lava logs, which can be found in coastal area because the geography pattern is near a volcanic area to withstand the typhoon itself during the prehistoric period. Next one, we will look into the indigenous design that can be found in Micronesia. Micronesian houses are basically the same. They are designed in structure and construction method similar, but their purpose is quite different due to some traditional houses is meant for individual or family settlement, but some are for gathering purposes and community services. Indigenous design is basically an open-sided houses which have blinds that are being made naturally using leaves from the coconut and nipah. Their post is made by a wooden post, which is large structure that support the weight of the entire buildings. For the roof, for roofing system, they've been used thatch roofs, which entirely made of leaves. They can be found there. Now we will proceed to colonial influence that have been occurred there. During colonial period, these indigenous materials have been converted into a more systematic, more universal material, which is they have been changed the thatch roof. For instance, they have been changed their thatch roof, which is entirely made of leaves, into another roofing system, which is made from metal sheets and corrugated roofing system. For their open-sided and their pines, which are before made from natural materials, now they have been used concrete and concrete blocks because their design is being developed into more strength to withstand the typhoon itself. Because in every year, typhoons getting stronger and stronger. So they implement the materials that have been brought by colonial to their own design, so that their shells more strength to stand the typhoons.
Now you guys already know the architecture in Micronesia. Well, there are some similarities between the architecture in Micronesia and also Malaysia. Now, here are two pictures, and the first picture is the picture of the Haluan Bai, which is also known as a meeting house in Micronesia, and next is the picture of a traditional Malay house. Now, what's the similar between these two? Both of these houses are designed with high-pitched roof, where it is perfect for tropical climate, where the hot air rises and vent through the air. It is also good for the flow of rain during rainy seasons. Next, the similarity is the material used for the roof in both houses. Both of the roof are made up of palm leaves. Palm leaves are good for the roof because it is durable and is also water resistant. And lastly, the similarities of these two houses were the walls are made up of wood. Most part of the house are made up of wood. This is because in the past, wood can be easily get rather than other materials.